Hi everyone, welcome back to Astrology in the Wild. My name is Key Tyler. Today's video is the purpose of retrograde. And now that we have 2 weeks left of this astronomical phenomenon, I wanted to remind you of what is supremely important at this time, what you should still be focusing on, what we should use the sign of Virgo for, and kind of what Mercury retrograde is about in a nutshell.
I just wanted to remind you to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, darling.
So what is a retrograde? A retrograde happens every 4 months. It happens 3 times a year, and each time it happens in the same
element.
year. So if we're in the year 2023, all of the retrograde signs will have happened in an earth sign. It roughly occurs for about 10 to 22 days. For the most part, it's roughly about 3 weeks. When we're in a Mercury retrograde, how could we be responding to life? It could be really forcing you into a state of considering all the details of daily life differently. And you might be approaching that in a different way, maybe considering how those things might need to change, or maybe discovering what things aren't actually working well. Responding to life during a Mercury retrograde can be really great because you start to realize what's different, possibly around the same environment that you've been in. Maybe you're discovering new places around the neighborhood. Maybe you're noticing little nuances, like you didn't realize that car is always parked there on the corner, or someone did something new to their home when you walked by. Those are the changes and subtleties that Mercury retrograde is bringing into our awareness so that we are for certain that things are evolving and changing around us. If you decide to follow new people, if you decide to find new connections and new networks, this is also a good time for that as well. Gathering new information is going to be important. So going back to old ways of gathering information may not be as helpful to you. And the ease that you can find by finding someone who has maybe a similar message but delivered in a different way that has deeper meaning to you is something that could most definitely happen during a Mercury retrograde. It also removes you from being automatic and can direct you away from your daily routine. So I notice a lot of people during this time realize what they're not staying up on, especially if it's in earth signs. People tend to not feel very great about not following their routines, needing to get back into the practice of things, and addressing their health. It removes you from being automatic about life. It puts you back into the passenger seat and allows you to look out the window and to see things from a different point of view. When you remove yourself from being automatic, you're seeing the realness of the way things are orchestrated around you. Even though you can be personally focused, the deep focus within yourself is making you aware of what's actually happening in the world around you. Instead of reacting to life, you're actually more or less in a Mercury retrograde trying to respond to life with a little bit more ease, even though sometimes it doesn't meet us in that way. Buying things, as my teacher says, like large purchases, computers, or items that are expensive that we don't generally want to spend money on, sometimes Mercury retrograde brings that around. Sure, you could have issues with technology, your computer might not be functioning well, the apps that you're using may not be up to date. You could even crack your phone. These are all things that in our normal day-to-day life make things really easy. And we start to realize if we're not taking care of them, if we're not maintaining them in the right way, they are wanting to break down and to say, hey, pay attention to me. Get out of your normal routine. See that there's some improvements that we need to make. So the purpose of Mercury retrograde. Mercury is naturally ruled by the signs Virgo and Gemini. The Gemini part of Mercury observes, catalogs, takes in the world, learns, puts things from pen to paper, and is always searching for new information. This is the sign of the zodiac that really brings a lot of information into our awareness. It's a fast-moving sign and brings a lot of diverse ideas into our mind frame. The Virgo part of Mercury takes what Gemini has done and it applies it to one's personal life to create function, to maintain balance, and to create a sense of order and control. A lot of times the Virgo aspect in Mercury makes us observe and asks us to see if we've actually implemented what we've learned. Do they work? Do they make our lives better? This is where we learn the ability to control and observe things that we cannot control. And so taking care of your body and taking care of things before they make you take care of them is an important lesson and aspect. Change is going to come, we know this, right? But sometimes when we're forced into the change, it feels very abrupt and it feels so alarming. Mercury retrograde is trying to remind us there are things that we need to tend to in our lives that we tend to overlook. And Mercury retrograde is trying to remind you of your body, of your work life, of the nutrients that you're putting in your body. You do these things every day, day in and day out. And are you observing those things right now? And are you trying to understand where there should be improvements, where there should be polishing, or actually where you find you're just perfect and nothing about you or the situation needs to change? Gemini and Virgo define the planet of Mercury. And so the overall message is to really be informed and to be able to make adjustments to life based on what we see, what we observe we need, and how the world is responding to us. So, lastly, I wanted to add, there are 12 things that Gemini, Virgo, and Mercury are trying to wake us up to. One is removing ourselves from the automatic way we approach our life. 2, witnessing ourselves not liking a particular routine and abandoning it. Number 3, realizing where you could be wasting your time and your resources. Number 4, we notice the things that we like and could be overcritical about what we see. Number 5, we notice systems breaking down or needing to be replaced. 6, the things you replace are the ones you don't normally have to think about, especially mechanical things. Number 7, things like hand tools could even not function the way that they're supposed to. So if you're using a drill, if you're using anything that needs batteries or that's working, that's not manual, you might have to tend to those. You can upgrade from doing things manually to being more efficient with automation or with less energy exerted. Gemini and Virgo, number 9, is making us wake up to the fact that we could be worrying and our nervous system can be really dysregulated, and we need to find the tools and resources to bring that back to center so that we can ground ourselves. Number 10, it's helpful to learn something new or focus on self-improvement or self-development. Number 11, being informed in a new way concerning health, daily routine, money, and work life are extremely important at this time. And number 12, the direction of things may switch. So you may have been doing something for a very long time and that role is being given to someone else and you're taking their role. And that can be in many facets of life. Of course, it all depends on where you are in your life and what your chart means for you specifically. If you need a reading, my name is Key Tyler. Please go to astrologyinthewild.com. You can have a personal reading about your birth chart and find out all the ways that Mercury retrograde in any sign could be affecting you, or whether you were born under a Mercury retrograde. This is something phenomenal as well. Thank you for visiting this channel. Thank you for being a subscriber, and I will see you at the next video. Take care.